What the heck is Crunchyroll doing with the Anime Awards for anime in 2025? Let's go ahead and talk about it. And here's what I voted for, just so we can get that out of the way. There was some stuff that I did not vote for because really I just didn't watch enough anime in that category to really make an informed decision, right? Stuff like best comedy, best slice of life, and best artist performance Japanese and best artist performance English. I just usually don't vote for those because I just don't know too much about the voice actor, right? To me, when it's in Japanese, everything sounds amazing, and I don't watch in dub, so I can't really vote there. So now that we got that out of the way, let's actually go ahead and take a look at the 6 anime that were nominated for Anime of the Year. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this 6. I will say there's at least 4 anime that are missing here, right? 2025 was a pretty decent year for anime, more considerably that it was literally carried by Solo Leveling, Season 2, which is arguably better than Season 1, and is probably the reason why Season 1 won over Free Rent last year, because a lot of people probably mixed those two together. But that's irrelevant because at the end of the day, Season 2 aired in 2025, and at the very least, I'd say it should have replaced either Dan Da Dan or Gashi Akuda. At least for me, because those were the only 2 anime of this 6 that I actually ended up dropping. I didn't finish those seasons just because I got bored with them, right? Doesn't mean that they're bad, that just means that it wasn't for me. But I would at least replace those 2 with Solo Leveling. But that's not really the end of it, right? Because I also think that there's more anime missing here, right? If we actually take a look, we're missing To Be Hero X, Lord of Mysteries. I feel like those 2 are also better than a lot of the anime that were nominated for this list. Now, there's a caveat to that, right? Because if we actually look at the rules set here by Crunchyroll, right? If we actually look what you need to be eligible, this is what needs to happen, right? And if we go, one by one, it's considered an animated series, right? To Be Hero X and Lord of Mysteries. That applies. Now here is where it makes sense that they did not get nominated at all, right? Primary production occurred in Japan, right? Now, I don't know why To Be Hero X for some reason did not make any of the categories, because I believe, or I know for a fact because it's in the credits, To Be Hero X was produced by Aniplex and Bilibili or something like that, right? A Chinese animation company. But Aniplex was involved. So that to me tells me that either Aniplex was involved in a very minor capacity to where most of that production, the primary production, just didn't happen in Japan. And that's why it wasn't nominated. Because that is the only rule out of all these stuff here that applies to Be Hero X and Lord of Mysteries. Which again, if that's the case, that makes sense. All right, it wasn't produced primarily in Japan, so it can't even be nominated. But that's where I think that the Crunchy Awards need to change, right? Because they are legit missing 2 of the best anime that released in 2025 for a technicality that honestly, it doesn't even matter. Everything should just be, it's the Crunchyroll Awards. Everything should be based on what's on Crunchyroll, right? Now, if you want to go ahead and extend that to anime that are airing in other platforms, sure. But at the very bare minimum, right, it does not matter where it was produced. The only thing that should matter is if it was on Crunchyroll. After all, it is Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Now, the other issue I also have with this anime and this whole categories is the fact that I definitely would agree and argue that Orb on the Movements of the Earth should belong in Anime of the Year. Again, at least for me, I would replace Dan Da Dan and Gashi Akuda for Orbs on the Movement of the Earth and Solo Leveling. 100%. If you haven't seen Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, it's a slice of life, historic kind of drama. But I'm telling you, it is worth it. All the characters are top tier. The storytelling, the sacrifices that were made in the anime is all top tier, right? You should definitely go check it out. But the fact that it wasn't even nominated for this is absolutely wild. It was only nominated for the best drama. But the other issue that I have here, right, is if we actually go to the best opening sequence. It wasn't even nominated for best opening sequence. And I will tell you right now that Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, what it did with its opening is unique, it's awesome, especially if you watch the anime, because I don't want to spoil the opening itself because it changes every couple of episodes and it's for a very specific reason. It's actually insane that they actually put that much thought into the opening itself. But also just the best, the best song. Like Orb on the Movement of the Earth. I have heard all of these. In fact, I actually went and opened a different tab. That's why I have this one with Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, because I just wanted to make sure that I'm not crazy, right? And again, it's opinion, so I get it. But at the end of the day, I open a different tab and I listen to all of these openings because I generally tend to skip the opening after the first episode. Like when the first episode is airing and I'm watching it, I watch the opening. And then after that, that's it. Unless it's an absolute banger, do I continue to watch it every single time. But with Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, not only was it a banger, but it changed every couple of episodes. And the first time that happened, mind blown. So I was literally watching every single time. And again, the fact that it wasn't nominated here, I don't know what to tell you. They are trolling. Crunchyroll, the judges, they are trolling. And all of this really just means that at the very least, it loses credibility, right? Because again, Orbs on the Movement of the Earth deserves more than what it got here. And I'm wondering, right? Because at the end of the day, Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, it aired on Netflix. It wasn't on Crunchyroll. It was on Netflix. And I'm wondering if they're like the judges just didn't watch that because it wasn't on Crunchyroll, or they just didn't know about it because again it was on Netflix, which, you know, Netflix is just not a juggernaut when it comes to anime, right? Like when you think anime, you don't think, oh, Netflix, let's go watch anime on Netflix, because they just don't have that much of a big library or a big seasonal catalog for people to be using Netflix as their primary anime streaming platform, right? So I think a combination of people not knowing about Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, because at the end of the day, it wasn't really like a huge popular anime, and also not streaming on Crunchyroll. I think that's what hurt it the most. But at the very least, I feel like the judges, when it's time to vote for these categories and how the categories are selected and how the nominees are selected, there has to be a list. Somebody has to compile a list of just all the anime that they have seen, all the anime that they would consider, you know, voting for, and somebody has to check that list, right? Because how can they... Clearly somebody knew about Orbs on the Movement of the Earth, right? Clearly somebody knew about it because it was in Best Drama. Somebody had to know about it. But the fact that nobody voted for this to be like Best Opening or Anime of the Year is just crazy. It's crazy. But, you know, let me know what anime you voted for. If you haven't voted for Anime of the Year or any of the other categories, make sure to do that. I'm just over here ranting about Crunchyroll because it is criminal what they're doing to some of this anime. I do think they do need to change. It's definitely take, at the very least, that main production in Japan away, because for me, Anime of the Year, without a shadow of a doubt, is Lord of Mysteries. Nothing came close to Lord of Mysteries in 2025. And I don't want to hear no excuses. That's a donghua. Donghua is just anime in Chinese, right? That's the only thing it is. It's the same thing that in Japan, SpongeBob is an anime, because in Japan, they call everything that's animated anime. We're over here in the US or in Western countries using two different languages to describe the same thing, because cartoons and anime are the same thing. It's just that one is the English word and anime is the Japanese word. That is the only difference. At the end of the day, the two words is a translation of each other. And the same thing is with donghua. It's just anime in Chinese. So I don't want to hear that excuse. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about this whole category situation that's happening with the Anime Awards. And like always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace out. Oh.